creepy horror stories.
It all started when Emily's parents inherited the old Thornton Manor. The house loomed like a sentinel on the edge of a quiet New England town, its weathered stone walls streaked with moss and ivy. Tall, narrow windows glinted dully in the pale sunlight, and a pair of iron gates, rusted and ornate, guarded the winding gravel path leading up to the entrance. The peaked roof and towering chimneys added an air of forgotten grandeur, while the surrounding woods cast long, twisting shadows that seemed to reach for the manor itself. The house, large and imposing, stood on the edge of a quiet New England town, surrounded by dense woods that seemed to whisper secrets to anyone who dared wander too close. Emily, a curious and imaginative 16-year-old, was not particularly thrilled about moving into the creaky old mansion, but there was something undeniably intriguing about the place, with its labyrinth of rooms and air of forgotten stories. The first week passed without incident. Emily spent her days exploring the house, marveling at its ornate woodwork and peculiar charm. Then, one rainy afternoon, she stumbled upon a door she hadn't noticed before. It was small, almost hidden behind a large wardrobe in the corner of an upstairs guest room. The door's paint was peeling, and its rusted handle looked as though it hadn't been turned in decades. Emily's heart thudded in her chest, a mix of fear and anticipation coursing through her as she gripped the wardrobe. The old wood resisted, groaning as she pushed it aside, revealing the small, peeling door. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the rusted handle, the cold metal biting against her palm. Each twist of the handle felt like a revelation, the air around her thickening with an almost electric tension, as though the house itself was holding its breath. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase that descended into darkness. The musty smell of damp wood and decay wafted up to greet her. Grabbing a flashlight from her room, Emily ventured down the stairs, each step groaning under her weight. At the bottom, she found a hidden room. It was small, filled with dust and cobwebs, but the objects within were fascinating. Old books with crumbling pages, faded photographs and cracked frames, and a large trunk sat in the center of the room. But what drew Emily's attention most was a music box sitting atop a small table. The music box was exquisite, though tarnished with age. The carvings, smooth yet worn, felt cool under Emily's fingers, and the faint scent of aged wood lingered as she turned the small key. When she opened the lid, the hinges creaked softly, releasing a faint, almost ghostly echo of its melody before the tune began to play. Its intricate carvings depicted dancers frozen in mid-movement, and a small key jutted from its side. Unable to resist, Emily wound the key and opened the lid. A haunting melody began to play, its notes soft yet strangely dissonant. As the music filled the room, Emily felt a chill creep up her spine. The air seemed heavier, and the shadows in the corners of the room deepened. She closed the music box, silencing the tune, and brought it upstairs, eager to show her parents. But when she turned to leave the hidden room, she felt as though she was being watched. Shaking off the feeling, she ascended the stairs and pushed the wardrobe back into place. That night, Emily dreamed of a young woman in a white dress, her face obscured by a veil that seemed to shimmer like mist. The room around her was bathed in an eerie, pale light, and the air felt heavy as if weighed down by sorrow. The melody of the music box played faintly in the background, each note resonating with a haunting clarity. Emily's chest tightened as she tried to speak, but her voice was lost in the oppressive silence. The woman's presence was both tragic and terrifying, filling Emily with an overwhelming sense of unease and sadness. The woman stood in the hidden room, holding the music box, and whispered words Emily couldn't understand. When Emily woke, the melody from the music box echoed faintly in her ears, even though it remained closed on her desk. Strange things began happening around the house. Doors creaked open and slammed shut on their own. Objects moved from where they had been left. And always, at odd hours of the night, the haunting melody of the music box would play, despite Emily locking it away in a drawer. Desperate for answers, Emily delved into the history of the Thornton Manor. She discovered that the house had once belonged to a wealthy family in the late 1800s. The youngest daughter, Lillian Thornton, was a talented dancer and musician. She had fallen in love with a composer, but her parents forbade the union, deeming him unsuitable. Heartbroken, Lillian locked herself in her room with the music box he had gifted her. Days later, she was found dead, the cause of death never determined. Emily realized the spirit of Lillian might still be tied to the music box. She decided to confront the ghost. One stormy night, she returned to the hidden room with the music box. Setting it on the table, she wound the key and let the melody play. "Lillian," she called out, her voice trembling. "If you are here, please show yourself." The room grew icy cold, and the faint outline of a woman emerged from the shadows, her form wavering like smoke in a breeze. She wore a flowing white dress that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow, and her movements were slow, almost hesitant, as if she were caught between reaching out and retreating. Her veil fluttered softly, obscuring her face, but the sorrow emanating from her was almost tangible, filling the room with an oppressive, mournful energy. Her face remained hidden beneath a veil, but her sadness was palpable. Emily held her ground. "I am sorry for what happened to you. Do you need help finding peace?" Lillian's ghost reached for the music box, her translucent fingers brushing against it. The melody grew softer, almost mournful. Then she vanished, and the music box stopped playing. When Emily opened the box again, the key was missing, and the dancers were still. From that night on, the strange occurrences ceased. The house felt lighter, as though a weight had been lifted. Emily placed the music box back in the hidden room, leaving it as a tribute to Lillian. Though she never saw the ghost again, she often thought of the young woman whose love and sorrow had echoed through the halls of Thornton Manor.